He ordered a rare steak. Imagine his face when they served him a fresh alien girl captain. Jake Morrison sat in the dimly lit corner of the space station restaurant, his fingers drumming against the metal table. The neon signs flickered in alien languages he could not read, casting strange shadows across his weathered face. After 3 months of deep space patrol, all he wanted was a decent meal and some peace. The waiter, a slug-like creature with too many eyes, slithered over to his table. Jake pointed to the menu item that looked most familiar. "The red meat special," he said in broken galactic standard. "Make it rare." The waiter made a wet gurgling sound that might have been acknowledgement and disappeared into the kitchen. Jake leaned back in his chair, watching the diverse crowd of alien species mingling in the restaurant. Traders, smugglers, and travelers from across the galaxy gathered here on Station Omega-7, the last stop before the Outer Rim. 20 minutes passed before the waiter returned, but instead of carrying a plate, it was leading someone by a chain. Jake's blood ran cold as he saw what approached his table. She was humanoid but clearly alien, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the artificial lights. Her hair was silver white, flowing like liquid mercury down to her shoulders. Most striking were her eyes, large violet orbs that held an intelligence that made Jake's stomach turn. She wore nothing but thin fabric scraps that barely covered her body, and metal restraints around her wrists and ankles. "Your fresh meal?" "Human," the waiter gurgled, pushing the alien woman toward Jake's table. "Very rare specimen. Caught just yesterday from the mining colonies." Jake shot to his feet, his chair clattering backward. "What the hell is this? You ordered rare meat, yes?" The waiter's multiple eyes blinked in confusion. "This is Zara, very tender. Very fresh. The Vexian species is considered delicacy among many civilizations." The alien woman, Zara, looked up at Jake with those haunting violet eyes. Despite her situation, there was no fear in her gaze, only a calm acceptance that made his heart race with anger. "I ordered food, not a person," Jake growled, his hand instinctively moving to the weapon at his hip. The waiter made that wet gurgling sound again. "She is food, human. Bred for consumption. Very expensive. You pay now." Jake looked around the restaurant. Other patrons were watching the scene with mild interest, some even looking annoyed at the disturbance. To them, this was normal. This was just another meal being served. "How much?" Jake asked quietly. 800 galactic credits," the waiter replied proudly. Jake reached into his jacket and pulled out his credit chip, sliding it across the table. "There's 1,000. Keep the change." The waiter's eyes lit up with greed. "Very generous, human. Enjoy your meal." As soon as the transaction completed, Jake grabbed Zara's arm gently and pulled her toward the exit. She stumbled slightly, clearly weakened from whatever they had done to her. "Where are we going?" she asked, her voice musical despite speaking in galactic standard. "Somewhere safe," Jake replied, guiding her through the crowded corridors of the station. His ship, the Falcon's Edge, was docked in Bay 17. It was not much to look at, a beat-up cargo hauler he had modified for long-range patrol work. But it was home. Jake helped Zara up the boarding ramp and into the main cabin. "Sit down," he said, pointing to the couch. "Let me get those restraints off you." Zara watched him carefully as he worked on the electronic locks. Her violet eyes followed his every movement, as if trying to understand the strange human who had bought her freedom instead of eating her. "Why did you help me?" she asked as the last restraint fell away. Jake tossed the metal cuffs into a storage bin. "Because it was the right thing to do. Where I come from, we do not eat people. I am not people. I am Vexian. We are livestock to most species. Not to humans," Jake said firmly. He moved to the food processor and programmed it for a simple meal. "Are you hungry? Real food, I mean." Zara nodded slowly. She had not eaten anything but nutrient paste in weeks. Jake handed her a plate of synthesized protein and vegetables, then sat across from her with his own meal. "Tell me about your people," he said between bites. Zara was quiet for a long moment. "We were once free. My people lived on 3 worlds in the Andorian sector. We were artists, philosophers, scientists. Then the hegemony came." Jake knew about the hegemony, a loose alliance of alien species that controlled much of the outer galaxy. They were brutal, efficient, and saw other races as either useful or expendable. They conquered your worlds. Worse, Zara's voice grew soft. They decided we were too dangerous to remain free. Our scientists had developed technologies the hegemony wanted, but they feared we would resist. So they declared us non-sentient and began breeding us for food and labor. Jake felt sick. How long ago? 50 years. I was born in captivity. Bred to be eaten. She looked down at her hands. Until today, I never knew freedom. Jake made a decision that would change both their lives forever. You are free now. I will take you somewhere safe. Where? Zara asked. The hegemony controls everything out here. Jake smiled grimly. Not everything. There are places they cannot go. Human space for one. Humans are new to the galaxy. Why would you risk war with the hegemony for one Vexian? Because that's what humans do, Jake replied. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. Over the next 3 days as they traveled toward human space, Jake learned more about Zara and her people. She was incredibly intelligent, with knowledge of advanced engineering and physics that amazed him. Her people's technology was centuries ahead of anything humans had developed. Your quantum drive systems are primitive, she said one day while examining his ship's engines. I could improve efficiency by 40% with simple modifications. Go ahead, Jake said. Consider it payment for passage. As Zara worked on his ship, Jake contacted his superiors in the Human Defense Force. The conversation did not go well. You did what? Admiral Kate Sullivan's voice crackled through the communicator. Morrison, do you have any idea what kind of diplomatic incident you might have caused? With respect, Admiral, I saved someone's life. The hegemony was selling sentient beings as food. Sentient, according to who human standards, do not apply to alien species, Captain. They apply to me, Jake replied firmly. Sir, you should hear what she knows about hegemony technology. This could be the intelligence breakthrough we have been looking for. There was a long pause. Bring her in, Morrison. But if this goes sideways, it's your career. When they finally reached Earth, Jake was amazed by Zara's reaction to seeing his homeworld. She stood at the observation deck window, tears streaming down her blue cheeks. It's beautiful, she whispered. I never imagined a world could be so alive. The debriefing took weeks. Human scientists and military officers questioned Zara extensively about hegemony technology, tactics, and weaknesses. She answered every question willingly, grateful for the chance to strike back at those who had enslaved her people. There are others, she told the assembled officers. Thousands of my people still in hegemony breeding facilities. Other species too. The galaxy thinks they are just animals, but they are all sentient, all suffering. General Lisa Thompson leaned forward. What would it take to free them, War? Zara replied simply. The hegemony will never give up their slaves willingly. Jake watched from the back of the room as his government wrestled with the decision. Humanity was still new to galactic politics, still building their military strength. A war with the hegemony would be devastating, but in the end, they made the only choice humans could make. We cannot stand by while sentient beings are enslaved and eaten, President Amanda Davis announced to the world. Effective immediately, humanity declares the hegemony slave trade an act of genocide. We will act accordingly. The war that followed lasted 3 years. It was brutal, costly, and changed the galaxy forever. But humanity had something the hegemony did not expect. Allies. Species after species rose up against their oppressors, inspired by the humans who were willing to fight for strangers. Zara became more than just a source of intelligence. She became a symbol of hope for the enslaved, a living reminder of what they were fighting for. She worked alongside human engineers to develop new weapons and defensive systems, her advanced knowledge proving invaluable. Jake found himself assigned as her permanent liaison and protector. Not that she needed much protection. Zara had proven herself capable in several battles. Her people's natural agility and intelligence, making her a formidable opponent. You realize what you have done? She asked him one night as they stood on the bridge of the new flagship Humanity had built with Vexian technology. Started a war? Jake replied. No, Zara smiled, the first genuinely happy expression he had seen from her. You gave hope to billions of slaves across the galaxy. You showed them that someone cares. The war ended when the hegemony capital fell to a combined fleet of liberated species. The slave markets were shut down, the breeding facilities destroyed, and millions of beings freed from bondage. Jake stood with Zara on the observation deck of their ship, watching as the first ships carrying freed Vexians departed for their reclaimed homeworld. After 50 years of slavery, her people were going home. What will you do now? He asked. Zara looked at him with those violet eyes that had first captured his attention in that terrible restaurant. I think I will stay with humanity for